this is really remarkable, and it's really that moment that I know that the many Iranian people have been waiting for. People that pay attention to Middle East, just a time where there's some sort of stability in the Middle East. This is that moment that really needed to happen for a long time, and I think that the Trump administration is making the right call. Of course, with the joint operation with Israel, is one that we know has a great chance of being very successful. Whatever the reports that are coming out soon of who was struck, maybe who was already taken out, we're hopeful that this will be a short encounter, but at the same time, we have to be ready for the long haul because this is this time when we really need to be sure that we're successful and that this regime is taken out and the Iranian people have the opportunity to rebuild their country. I think the president made the right choice, and he gave them obviously plenty of notice that there was a timeline. Whether he should have come to Congress, there's been a lot of conversations, and I'm sure we'll have those conversations again soon. I don't think that he needed to for this initial action to be taken place. We've seen former presidents make these decisions and move ahead. But I know that I support President Trump, and of course want to support our military men and women who are putting their lives on the line for American stability. One of the things I mentioned about the Iranian people, they've put up with this regime for over 40 years with all of the oppression and the opportunity not to really rebuild their country. This regime has been a troublemaker for 40 some years, and this is also about keeping America safe. Iran continues to rebuild their nuclear capabilities, and if they had the chance to build a ballistic missile that could reach the United States, that's why I believe this is America's reason to be involved and engaged. So I will support the president as it comes to Congress. I'm sure we'll have those discussions next week when we're back, and I would vote to support the president to do the job. No, I don't actually. I really think that this is about peace for the long haul. And as you mentioned earlier in your programming, talking about how Iran has now struck uh, Bagram, they've struck the other countries in the Middle East. I believe Saudi was maybe struck, Kuwait, and others. I think that that's a signal that Iran has been completely isolated, and that Iran is the last kind of the bastion of terrorists supporting governments in the Middle East. Now we've got other issues there. Syria is still on the brink, and hopefully, rebuilding in a proper way. As I saw an interview earlier, one of the ladies from Iran said that the Middle East is modernizing. That's what we want. We don't want this jihadist mentality that we have been dealing with for the last several decades. And so, to those who say, well, President Trump, he said that he wasn't going to take us into any wars, he's keeping us out of wars in the long run. I think it's just pretty amazing, methodically how he has taken out. Well, he built peace agreements with other countries in the Middle East, then taking out Maduro a couple of months ago. That gives us another kind of a piece off the board. And Iran is the last one standing. I think Russia is weakened with its engagement and its attacks on Ukraine. And China, I think, is going to sit on the sideline. I don't think that, I think we're really in a moment here where we can bring peace for the future, for the Middle East and for the world in a greater context. Is it a safe world? No, but we are definitely making the right moves by doing this. I haven't seen any hard evidence, but I have had several conversations with administration officials that have indicated that that's ultimately their goal. I mean, Wolf, as you know, I mean, Iran is the supporter of the chance. Whether it's death to Israel, death to America, they hate the West. Their religious beliefs take them down this road of hating anyone who doesn't agree with them. And so, therefore, I think that we have to realize and believe what they say, that that would be their ultimate goal. If they could send a missile to not only Israel but to Europe and ultimately to the United States, they would do it. And to the point that they're willing to die. It looks like. I thought it was really incredible the timing of this attack. Waiting until the group of leadership may have been together once the attack started, that hopefully this keeps death to a very minimum, takes out the the leadership of Iran and gives the Iranian people a chance to rebuild their country, and they become our allies. And I think that's what's exciting to me is that let's build relationships and friendships with people around the world, no matter our disagreements on a variety of things, but we can at least support one another. Look at what the UAE is doing. It's becoming a hotbed for the economy. You look at Saudi Arabia. What other opportunities are in the Middle East through the Abraham Accords and what that has done and developed for countries to build relationships with the West. That's what we ultimately want. We don't want to see this thuggery type of authoritarian government continue to stay in place. I don't, and I just think that Marjorie, for whatever her reasons are, I don't understand them, but I think that this is putting America first. America is leading. I mean, that's what's incredible to see today. That America is leading. That countries, especially in the Middle East, want a relationship with the United States. The speech that Marco Rubio gave over in Europe a couple of weeks ago, I thought was one of the most remarkable foreign policy speeches we've seen in a long time. Is that we really love and want a relationship with people. We don't want to see, like what we see in North Korea, that the people there are starving to death, and they have a dictatorship for a government. And instead of these types of authoritarians, they oppress their people rather than giving them freedom and opportunity. And so that's why I believe that this does put America first, and America's first by leading. And I also think it's kind of ironic too. We're looking throughout history how people have led and stood in the gap for people because they love them. And we're coming into the weekend where the Jewish holiday Purim is going to be celebrated, and how Queen Esther stood in the gap against a vicious Persian King Haman to protect people. And I just think that the irony that this is happening on the same weekend really, again, is representative of the fact that people need to stand up for people and show love by sometimes doing a very difficult job, and that's by taking those out who continue to be evil and kill people and have no regard for life whatsoever. So I just disagree with her, and I think America is first by leading the way.